know what time it is.
How it all works.
Come on.
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 Well. What's good, family? It's another Monday, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. I don't know what time it is for you, but it's 7 p.m. for both me and our special guest today. So come on and get on the Central Time Zone train, right? We always have to adhere to the Eastern Time Zone, folks. Not tonight. Man, what's good? Let me see what we got in the comments here. We got Sammy Superstar. We got Carvins. We got Computer Pal. David Hunt is here, the host with the most. I tell you what, David Hunt, man, I appreciate appreciate you, sir. I really, really do appreciate you. I'm excited about tonight. So I'm going to just run right into our announcements, man. I have to say this, this is something that I have to say every week, because every week there's somebody who's like, what? There's a book? I didn't know this. It's an ebook. Right? It's an ebook, right? So it's a PDF. It's available for download, $9 on my site, kirkrnugent.com. Just go ahead and hit it up, grab a copy. 31 live streaming tips to grow your audience. It's meant to be a daily thing where you read one, implement. At the end of a month, you would have taken your stuff to the next level. So I want to make sure that that's out there. And listen, some people have been asking me. Now, today I have on Doc's shirt, right? That's what I have on today. I have on Doc's shirt. This is one of those things where it's like, I totally forgot to put the right PDF into the document. Man, I love doing stuff live. You gotta love live. All right, so here we go. We got our stuff on here, and let's get this going, man. There we go. All right, so I have on Doc's shirt today, right? This is intent and purpose. But man, some of you guys have been asking, where's the hoodie? I can't find the hoodie on your merch page. It's not on Press and Sew. So I talked to Andrew and Sylvia. We got the hoodie back on there. So howitallworks.com/shop. Go and hit it up. It's there. It's right on the main page. The shirt that's next to it is the exclusive shirt for the month of October. So all of my guests in the month of October got this shirt. The shirt for the month of November is a different shirt. I can't tell you what that shirt is. Only the guests get that shirt first. And if you order something from, let's say you go and you order the hoodie today, right? You will get the exclusive shirt for the month of November as a throw-in for your order. So listen, you just go ahead and order and you'll get the shirt. If you ordered something last month, you would have gotten this other shirt. So want to make sure you guys are aware of that. Want to make sure you guys are aware. I see David out there, SK's Crafty Kitchen Adventures. Computer Pal says he bought it. I think he's talking about the book. Man, this is a new video that we got coming on the channel, on the YouTube channel. So definitely take a look. Some new features, new functions from our guys at StreamYard. Looking forward to put out some more content where that's related as well. We had a really good time in the masterclass, and that masterclass is actually almost done. I know some of you have been waiting, and those who actually went to the masterclass, you have access to the replay. But the masterclass we're chopping it up, we're putting it together. It will be available for sale for you very, very soon. We're talking like this week, family. So hold me to that. Hold me to it. If I come back next week and I don't have it up yet, definitely beat me up in the comments. But for sure, we are definitely going to have this up this coming week. But I am excited, overjoyed even about this coming masterclass. All right. So excited that I'm going to go ahead and run this video. Scenes, overlays, camera effects, sound effects, interview mode, preview mode, sound levels, comments and reactions, screen share, playing videos, switching cameras, audio delay, virtual camera, NDI, transitions, and much, much more. Man, these are just some of the awesome features that make up Ecamm Live Pro, the topic of our next masterclass. And I haven't even touched on the new features like profiles, the branded guest experience, or private guest/host communications. It's a lot. I know this, trust me, it's a lot. But what I can guarantee you is that in this 2-hour masterclass, we're going to go over all of it and how you can put your skills to use for clients as a remote producer. And we got a bonus, y'all. Everybody loves a bonus. And as our bonus, we're going to show you how to use Ecamm with other streaming platforms like StreamYard or Restream or OBS. Yes, we can use Ecamm with StreamYard. So here's what you want to do. You want to circle this date. Circle this date on your calendar right now, Sunday, November 21st from noon to 2 p.m. Central Time. Listen, for $67, you can learn how to stream with Ecamm like a pro just in time for Thanksgiving dinner. Limited seats are available, so you want to get them while they last. Go to kirkrnugent.com/masterclass to register today. I see Doc is in the comments. He said, nice shirt. Yes. And somebody may have noticed what shirt I had on in that video as well. So definitely go ahead and get your tickets for the masterclass. Looking forward to that. I know this is something that the community has been asking for. Last one we did was over a year ago, so we're overdue. There's way too many features to cover. I don't even know if 2 hours is going to get it all in, but yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I see Albert is here. I see Kim Caples is here. Thank you so much for, did I say that right? Caples or Capies? I don't know. I might be saying that incorrectly. Man, we had such a blast last month, and I want to let you guys know that the collab videos, right? The collaboration videos, the excerpts from these live streams with these guests are almost ready. We're going to be posting those over the next couple of weeks, so look out for those. Just small, sub 7-minute video clips that kind of capture some of the nuggets that were shared in some of these interviews. So we're excited to be able to bring that to you. Last week, we had a little placeholder in that last spot here for the 29th of November. This week, we have Derek Floyd prominently there on the screen. Of course, we had Justin Koo last week. Phenomenal conversation, ministry, and YouTube, and he's in it 5 years, right? So if you didn't catch that, you want to go ahead and check it out. But tonight, we've got a giant in the building, the Reverend Wright. I'm laughing. I couldn't even get the whole thing out, Diana. The bishop, I don't even know. I'm just going to leave it alone. But this is my sister, man. Diana Gladney is on the live with us. And I just love this quote from her. You've got to ask yourself before publishing a video or live stream, how this is serving my community. How is it serving your community? We're going to dive into it and several other things in this video. Looking forward to it. Let's go. Oh my goodness. I am excited, absolutely overjoyed to have my sister on the show today. We got to welcome her, family. I see somebody, my good friend and pastor, Lola Moore Johnston is here. She says, I absolutely love her. She does an excellent job of explaining things plainly. She got me out of a few tech jams during the pandemic. That is so amazing. So amazing. Albert is asking Diana if we're going to have everybody stand as the pastor.
All rise.
All rise. Oh man, Andrew Nixon says royalty is in the house. That's what's up.
Y'all
man.
are too kind.
Man, I am absolutely excited. If you have not shared, go ahead and share. If you have not tagged somebody in the comments on Facebook or wherever you're watching, definitely go ahead and do that. And for my family on LinkedIn, we're trying something on LinkedIn tonight. So if you are on LinkedIn, man, let the people of God say so, right? Represent.
Okay,
let's
let the
hear
church
it.
say amen.
Monty Weaver is here. Thank you so much for coming through, Monty. Man. Listen, I know that we are both talkers, so I am not even going to delay. I'm just going to throw this first question up here right now. So Rev, tell the people a little bit about yourself, who you are, and your relationship to live streaming. Talk to us.
My name is Diana Gladney. I'm a native out of St. Louis, Missouri.
It's not
Doc
Rev,
is
right?
hating already. It's not Rev. But you talk enough about the Lord, people throw a collar on you. So no, but no, not a collar wearer. Okay, but
There we go.
I help entrepreneurs simplify the video creation process. So whether that is the tech side of things or we're diving into strategy, YouTube specific things, of course, live streaming is included in that. Then that is what we do. The whole brand is built around video simplified. And so because I believe everyone has a purpose, then I believe that you need to be leveraging video to do that. Everybody knows that Google is the #1 search engine in the world. Everybody knows that YouTube is the #2 search engine in the world, and yet they still don't have a place on either of those platforms. And I believe that if they could just get past their own belief systems and get past the technology, then they could serve the world their gift and their purposeful work, because you need that exposure to do that. And so that is my chief aim in my company and business and brand over on my YouTube channel.
Man. That by itself was a clinic. I the way you put it all together there, just making sure people understand that there is something to be said for having a presence in these spaces. So like, that's not a new stat, right? That YouTube is the second largest search engine in the world, second only to its parent company, which is Google. That's not actually a unknown statistic. But what people generally do not put on the back end of that is the perspective that Diana just gave us, which is, why aren't you there? And that is a question for everybody. I want to pose that right now in the chat, man. Why aren't you there? If you're not on these platforms, why are you not there? If you can give us a reason tonight, we'd love to hear that. Diana, my goodness. Now, this second question is one of my favorites, one of the audience's favorites as well. I have just an inkling of this, but I'm always interested to hear what people are going to share, because even though you may be familiar with their story, you may not be familiar with what they're going to say when you ask them. So without any further ado, here's the second question. What is your content creator / live streaming story? Like, how did you get started? Now, I know pieces of it, like I said, but we have time. So take us through this thing real quick. Well, how did you... We see the greatness that is before us right now, right? I like Lola have been helped out of multiple jams by your content as well. So I really appreciate all that you do, and definitely have been a beneficiary of even some of your knowledge and wisdom. And so, yeah, but there had to be this impetus, right? There's this origin. Were you always this way? Maybe you were, but share with us a little bit about what that origin story looks like.
For sure. My origin story starts off like many people that are probably in the comments or watching this on the replay afterwards. And that's you come in kicking and screaming at the advice of a mentor or a coach someplace that's telling you that you need to start being visible using video. And it was that specific language that my mentor and coach at the time said to me, literally like day one, session one of working with him. And I'm like, clearly, you don't know anything about me. I recycle the same 7 photos. Like, you haven't seen this one. It's like they haven't seen the one with the seatbelt, in a minute when I had just came from the salon. So I'm going to recycle that one from 2009. You know what I'm saying? Throw them with an old flashback for 2006. And it's like, it's like they same 7 photos. Like, sir, clearly you don't know. I hold the camera for people when they doing the little, you go to Walgreens, CVS, look, take the photo. I'm going to hold that for you and take it for you. I'm not going to be the person on video. Photo.
Wow.
But it was like it's longer for me to explain than the half of a second or less of a thought that it was. But when he said that, it's kind of that awkward pause for a moment, because all of these thoughts of no, and why the reasons of no, and why like you don't know enough about me to know that why this is a no more than I can explain this. I just thought in that, like, the last little bit of an inkling of a thought was, I did not hire him for me to remain the same. I didn't hire him for me to stay comfortable in my limiting beliefs, even if I didn't think that they were limiting at the time. Wow. So I just said yes. And I took that cue from Think and Grow Rich. And I remember a mentor in my 20s, when I was 22, said to buy an iPod. And I still have that literally sitting behind me on a shelf. He said, fill it up with personal self-development and listen to it for nothing but 30 days. No TV, no radio, no nothing. And that 30 days turned into 60 days. That 60 days turned into 6 months. And I've continued to do that year over year for different times of like studying personal development. And of course, that first book, that's very pivotal for most people for obvious reasons. And I became a student of Napoleon Hill, who wrote Think and Grow Rich, but even its predecessor, The Law of Success in 16 Lessons. In that book, he describes how Andrew Carnegie commissioned him to go and study the most successful people in the world and go figure out their stories, and not just their stories, but their way and their path to success. Okay, everybody hears that, and that success sounds good after you see the what it took. Success does not sound good in the in-between. It looks ugly. It looks stupid. It feels silly. Okay, well, in reading from this, I'm reading for what's underneath the print. What does that situation really describe? And so thankfully he expressed how when Andrew Carnegie gave him that opportunity, no money, you're going to do this, probably something that will be for like the next year plus, and you need to figure out how to do this. I'm just simply going to make the introduction. And Andrew Carnegie had interviewed so many other prominent men about whatever. But he just said, yes, Mr. Carnegie, and you can count on me to do it. I'm going to get it done.
That's it.
So literally, I took that same little you know what? Napoleon said yes when he didn't understand the how. I don't need to know the how either. I just said yes.
Yes.
And it's again, all of that transpired in like a half of a second of a thought, maybe less. And then I'm sitting there and he's like, you going to do it? And I'm like, I'm going to do it. And he's like, again, I haven't to confirm this now like 2-3 times or whatever.
Yes. Wow.
So I'm like, okay, well now, because this is happening, I'm like, he's like, you going to do it? Yes, I'm going to do it. You going to do a video today? Yes, I'm going to do a video today.
Wow.
And so it happened. And it's like, people's like, when did you start live streaming? The same time I started doing the video, it was the same time frame.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. Wow. Come on. We are already off to the races, fam. Have you been writing? Have you been taking notes? That's what my thing to you is right now, is to make sure that you are taking notes. Fill up your audio listening device, whether it's your phone or you actually have an iPod with, what did you say?
Personal self-development.
That self-development is the term. Self-development type content, and begin to, feast on that kind of content. Begin to build into yourself. Man, there's just so many things that you shared there. The power of saying yes, even though you don't know the how or the why or the mechanics, all the details, but the power of being able to say, man, I did not hire this person to stay exactly the same way I have been. So if they're going to suggest something new, I mean, there's just so much there. If as they say, if your coach doesn't have a coach, then get rid of that coach, because you haven't, you don't know. Only way you know how to coach is if you have been coached, and it's being able to have that experience and share with people from a real space what Diana is sharing with us right now. That I sat in your chair and heard my coach say something that I was not comfortable with, but I recognized that this is the reason why I hired, why I'm here, why I've subscribed, why I've joined this group, why I've joined this coaching session. And so many times we limit ourselves from things that we want to do. We're not even talking about live streaming yet. So many times we limit ourselves from goals that we set for ourselves, places that we want to go, areas that we feel called to really show up in long before we ever get the opportunity, because we've said no. And I just love the concept of the idea around just saying, how about be willing, be open to the concept, man.
That's the whole thing. To be honest with you, it's like limiting beliefs don't just have an impact. They have a stench. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like it's an odor to it. Like you smell far in advance of somebody actually being exposed or uncovering what the real root problem is. Like it has an odor and a stench to it that results in the why something does or does not actually get done. And so people wonder why things don't come to them. And it's because you stink. You're giving off an odor of like, and that was the other thing that I learned with a lot of people don't know that Napoleon Hill was a believer. He was a Christian. And so he was like, you send your words out ahead of you to go and do the work that you are coming behind it to do. And so, we know Habakkuk 2:2. So it's my word that goes out from my mouth shall not return unto me void, shall accomplish that for which I sent it. But even if you don't believe in none of that, the thing is that energy still is real and exists. And if you hold your hand up to your mouth and say your name 3 times, you feel a vibrational push that comes out through that. You feel actual wind that comes out by back of that. That is going someplace. What you are putting and sending your words out to do is based on what you're saying. And what's going to come, like, obviously, out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. Okay, what's on the inside, though, is what's coming out of your mouth. That odor, whether you got a peppermint gum or whatever, cannot be masked by
No.
some, you know what I'm saying? Like, so that's why the whole fake it till you make it stuff don't exist. Honestly, your limiting beliefs have an odor.
Oof. They have an odor. Man, I'm trying to keep it pushing, but I want to stay here for a second because I think it's Albert that said this a little bit earlier in the comments, and you guys are having a fantastic time in the comments. I'm seeing you, but I can't even catch up. But Albert said, listen, all of the stuff that you see on Diana's channel ain't going to make no difference. It's not going to help you one bit if you don't listen to what she's saying right now. This is the crux of it. This is the success before success even happens. It's the prerequisite. What is your odor? What does that attitude of your heart smell like? Is it repugnant? I mean, is something decaying inside? Like there is something that you may be holding on to, maybe an experience. I don't know what it might be. But there is also something on the flip side that you know is your thing. It's your value. It's your calling. It's your purpose for which you were created. And you know that this is the thing. What is limiting you? We talked about this last week. We with Justin Koo talking about what is limiting you from doing that thing that you know you've been called to do. And I'm so excited to be able to kind of continue that and probe a little further here with Diana Gladney. I'm not going to say Reverend. The rest of y'all already heard her. This thing is clear. It's clear tonight. We're not even going to do nothing else. Doc Rock says lavender and cash flow. Okay, that lavender and cash flow.
Listen, but it's like here's the interesting thing though. People think death is nothing, like it equals nothing. Even death has a stench. You know what I'm saying? Like, so think like if your belief system is dead, if your thoughts and what you think is possible is dead, that has an odor. It has a stench. Like literally, people like paramedics or people that are in healthcare, things like that. I remember when, unfortunately, my grandma passed when I was younger. It's like you walked into her apartment, death has an odor. The body isn't there anymore, but it's like even like the what's left over. I still have some of her heirlooms that was passed to me. It still carries her scent. You know what I'm saying? Like, so you think your ideas, you think your beliefs don't have an odor or a stench to them, even when they're dead, and you think it's nothing, it still has an odor.
My goodness. I'm just making sure, right? We're just tying the tangents together to make sure that you're catching all of it, fam. Like now I hope that you got your notes out. I hope that you are writing. I hope. And Michael Shelton, look, if I didn't tell you that we were going to church tonight, that's my bad. I should have put it in the subtext line when I posted this on Facebook and YouTube earlier today. But what I just want to make sure that don't see the analogy and get turned off. Begin to dig for yourself. Begin to think about your own scenario, your own situation. Begin to start thinking about what is the energy and the attitude and what is it? That's the odor. What kind of power do I bring to a space when I walk in? I was having a conversation with a good friend and we were talking about this, and he was talking to me about a particular client, and he was just like, I don't know what it is, but as soon as I get on the line with this particular client, I just shift. I can't figure out what that is. And we had to talk through some things, and we recognized that he was coming into this space with a certain energy. He was coming in with a certain mindset, coming in with a preconceived notion, and that was dictating the success or lack thereof for the interaction he was going to have with this person. What are you bringing in with you? And this is why your morning routines and how you start your day and all that stuff is so critical, so important. We haven't even gotten into how did you get into content creation, Diana?
It started with my coach. You know, the whole thing of go make a video today. He started telling me, go make a video today. And so I went and made a video that same day, and walking around the house, kind of nervous, like, don't look right. You got a phone that's like, I don't know, 8 megapixels or something on its best camera at the time. And it just looks like trash, but it doesn't matter because I can't be beholden to that. I'm going to set a bunch of barriers and stuff on top of myself to fix all these things. I don't even know what to fix. So all I can do is execute on what he said, which was go make a video. And the thing was go make 30 videos. It was a 30 video challenge. It wasn't Vlogmas or anything like that. It was just inside the private Facebook group. You get like 2 accountability partners at that time, and go make your videos and post them 90 seconds or less. And so I did that, walked around the house. It's hot outside. It's humid in St. Louis. It's horrible. Eventually went to the car because I'm like, okay, it's not noisy here in the car. And, I'm like, okay, cut the air on. Then like the air makes too much noise. All this stuff.
All
and
the
then
details.
Right. And so eventually, I'm like, okay, turn the car off, turn the air off. Now I got the Whitney Houston lip sweat thing happening. And I'm like,
not the Whitney Houston. Oh no.
And I'm like, all right, we're gonna do this video. And that was the first video.
Wow.
And so that video, and even like it was within a couple weeks or so, was do a live stream. Like he didn't let me get comfortable. That wasn't even like a conversation. It was do it. And I was like, okay. He's like, you do live streams, you do recorded content, you need a library of content. And I'm like, okay. My video, like it's I think it's still like on my Facebook page, but I don't really upload to a lot. It's like the super old live stream from like 2016. I'm lime green. Not because it's some stylistic choice. The light had a tint and a hue to it. It was
oh my goodness.
Like lights were not good back then. Everything sucked. The camera sucked. It looked like it's got Vaseline over it. The light has a greenish hue. So that has and I'm doing the live stream. It was like my aunt, some random coworker, and another lady that was on there. And I'm just like, this blows.
Yeah.
But that was like one of the first live streams.
Listen, and the thing that couple of things. One right here is done is still better, right? It's still better than thought about. Done is still better than planning. Done is still better than I need this one last component. Done means you can move into another phase, which is, in my opinion, the most critical phase, and that is review. And in the review phase is where true growth and as they say, leveling up happens in review. You cannot get to review until you have at least completed one or some. So I love the concept of getting it done. The second thing I want to share with folks is, and I got a chance to work with my guy Pierre Quinn last week on 4 Nights of Clarity, and one of the things that was clear throughout his entire thing, of course, this is a guy who coaches, executive leaders, and he was talking about the fact that in every aspect of his life, he recognizes his need of a coach, and one of the things that you will not find is that you will not get the level of growth that Diana got in those 30 days without the poking, the prodding, the urging of someone who knows the benefit of it on the back end. And that is not something to be taken lightly. All right. That's not something to be taken lightly. I know that Diana's also doing some stuff out there. I don't know if you want to be able to check her out. I saw somebody say that you just subscribe to Diana. That's what you need to do. But whether it's me or her, you need to be looking into ways. And look, it doesn't have to be formal. You could just be watching YouTube videos, but you do need to somebody needs to be constant in your ear, pushing you to do more than what you would do all on your own. And that is critical. I absolutely love this origin story. Now, we have 2 other questions. I'm not too concerned. We still got some time, but I do want to hear, because we've started at this point. Okay, this was your origin, but now fast forward to today, like, what are some of the things in between? I mean, we know this version of Diana. I had the privilege of meeting you somewhere around this time, maybe a little earlier, maybe around August or so last year. I came across your content even earlier than that, but I had the privilege of meeting you in these forums from ECAM. But help us understand some of the other things. Maybe there might be some milestones in there that you could share with us that may give perspective on some of the things that we see from you today.
Yeah, it's so much of the things that I developed while I was still working, you would say a traditional 9-to-5 job or whatever. But and then also, like, a lot of people that know my story know I battled stage 4 endometriosis. It's still a problem. Okay, well, it was still a problem then. Okay, once I got to the point, I had my emergency surgery. I'm back at work and I'm thinking of the what to do's or whatever, which led me to my first coach that got me doing video. Fast forward a year later, I'm doing it and nothing happened. I think it was like right at 12, 13 months of doing that. Then I got my first client. It would be other people, they month 1, month 2, and they're getting a client. And I'm like, what you forget? What step you ain't tell me about? But, you know, it was just like, I'm like, you know, I'm like, hey, now, you know, it's the wins ain't catching up with the work. You know? And so, but I was just, he's like, just keep doing this, keep doing it. I'm like, okay, cool. But I also recognize where I needed some additional things. There was other things that I wanted to do that it wasn't in his wheelhouse. I'm like, cool. So before I was even done paying for coaching, I was on a payment plan. It's tell you, like, I didn't have the money. Mercy. And it's like, okay, I need another coach that can help me in another area. And so I hired a second coach that was even more expensive. I think it's like double his fee. And I'm like, I need a payment plan with you too. And then called my mom. It's like, Mom, I'm gonna be eating at y'all house. You and Daddy for a little bit longer. Okay, co-workers would see you. That's all you eating today? Yeah, you know, I got your lunch for you. You know, it's like, so blessings was coming back around from when I was buying people lunch. Now it's like people buying me lunch. So things happen. It just, so that in between in the working stuff was, for some people, I would say would be stressful. For them, I wasn't worried about it. I wasn't gonna go hungry. I got 5 older siblings and my mother and father. I'm gonna eat somewhere. You know, it's like if I need somewhere to stay, I can stay somewhere. You know, it's like I got a job. We can work this out, right? Yeah, it's like it's not that big of a deal. I've been through worse. You know what I'm saying? Like through my college years. So I'm like, no big deal. And so I think for a lot of people, those moments break them instead of building them. Like I just wasn't worried, and I don't like have like, it's not that I didn't have levels of concern or you won't have levels of frustration, but I just was more focused on like later on, this is going to be more. Don't know when that later on is going to be. I just figured eventually the math has to add up. So month 12, 13, I hit, you know, actually getting a client finally, and then started getting regular clients while I was still working full time, and I was still growing in the company that I was in. And so what I did was I developed a education process. So while I'm at work, I'm learning. So when I would get home, I can execute. And that process still serves me now. So it's not the constraints being a problem. The constraints were just the container. If you got a small size cup, do you really want ice in the cup? No. Even if you got a large, sometimes you still don't want ice, depending on how thirsty you was. I was real thirsty. I was thirsty for success. Like I wanted it. And so I would look at, you know, what can I do with what I have? And so those very early podcasts that I made, I had a whole other podcast. You would hear the alarm going off because I'm recording it. Like I've been recording content all night long. Would wind up being this thing now that's still a thing, which is accidental overnighters, where I'm just caught in a work loop of when I look up, it's 5 o'clock. And so the alarm is going off saying, get up. And I'm in the middle of recording a podcast because I was recording 2-3 videos, trying to figure out the editing and stuff or whatever. But I go to work super energized. And so it just developed a work ethic and a work habit of, I'm going to go to work and I'm going to give you what you need. In the interim of me driving to work, breaks, lunches, I'm not eating those with people because I'm looking at my time that I have access to. And I'm like, okay, I can't go out to lunch with y'all. I'm not doing the happy hour, whatever, lunches or dinners at Applebee's anymore. Wow. I need this time. And so that time commitment let me make space for the things and even systems that I still implement today that serve me really well.
This is the piece that I want to really hang my hat on, and then we're gonna put an audience question up on the screen for you guys to really dive in on. But I'm really excited that we were able to hear this piece of this story. So many. We had Justin Brown on for Primal Video a week or so ago, and he was talking about really hitting his stride. He had been on YouTube, I think 7 years, but really hitting stride, I think year 4 or year 5. It was somewhere there where he really hit his stride because he hadn't really put the work in to understand the platform. And once they did, they really started to see some results. But what I want you to understand or want you to know is that everybody, this recurring theme we're hearing from these creators who you may think were overnight successes because you didn't know them and you didn't know their story. But you get a chance to hear from Dianna today, and you're listening to someone who in anybody's estimation, like 12, 13 months of putting out content, the first client, in anybody's estimation, you'd be like, man, that's a long time. And so I don't know where you are in your journey, but it's still possible. It's still possible based on what you're hearing from Diana. And let's be clear, what we're hearing from Diana is like this is the interlude. We're not talking about the end product, right? We're not looking back on a career. She's in the middle, still very much in the ascent. If we were looking at a plane, right, still very much climbing in altitude, right? So we're excited to be able to hear that kind of content and that perspective from her tonight, man. But this is our audience question, throwing it up on the screen, because a lot of folks, especially businesses, brands, they're trying to understand this thing. And I'm posing it to you before we tackle this question on screen. Of course, this is the title of our show. How do you measure your live show's effectiveness and when to stop? So this is a flip, because usually I always ask you, when are you going to get started? And we don't usually focus in on what metrics and benchmarks are you setting to let yourself know, like, this is not actually working. And so I want to hear from you guys. If you have a live show and you're out there and you have a live show, I would love to hear from you. What is your measurement? How do you measure impact? How do you measure success? How do you know that your live stream is fulfilling what it is you intend for it to fill? Let us know in the comments. We want to engage around that. And then Diana, we're gonna dive into this question as well. But I want to take a couple of comments here as well. That's a pretty good idea. Client after a year. I see it. Earl Hall says, loved you two. You have no idea just how much you have impacted my business. Much respect. Doc Rock says, Tinkerbell juice, they tell me. We're having way too much fun here today. But yeah, I'm hoping that, Anthony Korn says, Queen D is in the building. Anthony, that's my guy. What's up, man? Man, I'm hoping that you guys are seeing the question that's on the screen. I'm hoping that, that you're, Bryant Taylor's here. He says, Diana always delivers. Yes, I agree, sir. But yeah, the question on the screen for a lot of you guys out there, you may have a brand, you may have a business. We don't know exactly what the purpose of your content, schedule, content approach might be, but how do you know that it's effective? And do you have a line where you say, man, if we get here, we're going to pull the plug because it's not doing what we intended it to do? Talk to us in the comments about that. While you guys are chewing on that question a bit, I want to throw this next question up here for Diana. And we're gonna chat about this a little bit. What factors should a business consider when deciding where they stream and how often? I know I'm actually toying with LinkedIn Live, just got approved a few months back. And so I've just been learning that platform and the ins and outs and some of the things that are possible there, how it differs from other platforms. You always have to learn that for a platform before you can really develop a strategy. But yeah, talk to us a little bit, Diana, about what should businesses be looking at? This is, I know, a question that I get often when I talk with businesses about live projects or remote production projects. They're like, where should we stream? And this is the list of things that we would love to be able to know. Like, okay, here's what you want to do on this one or this one. Talk to us a little bit about what that looks like from your experience.
That's really awesome question. So the thing is, the where and the frequency questions come in because they're looking at, with what I have available, how much can I or do I need to commit to this before I start seeing some kind of a result? And honestly, if we go into the where you stream, it needs to be dependent on where your people are, in a way that you're going to produce a live piece of content that they want to engage with. Everybody has a way that they prefer to be communicated to, and they have a way that they don't prefer to be communicated to. And a lot of people will take their feelings as if they are facts and make business decisions based on feelings. You can't do that. Wow. And so the where you go needs to be based on your people, because people will find out that their target audience is going to be on Instagram, and they figure, well, let me go find some kind of a third-party hack system that's going to let me stream from my camera, produce it in what I feel is comfortable and what I want my brand to be, and then I'm going to do it. But until then, I ain't showing up. But it's like, your people didn't ask for that, don't want that, don't resonate with that, and you look weird because you don't fit the culture of the platform. And so the where you go needs to be based on where your people are. If you listen in the beginning of my story, I was sharing how I started on Facebook. My first live streams were on Facebook. because that's what was recommended to my coach. But that was really based on where his target audience is and the assumption of where most target audiences were, which was not incorrect, but just not for the trajectory of where things was going for me. And so I didn't start off talking about video content or whatever. I was talking about business. We talk about personal development, taxes, and stuff like that. And so that's a fine conversation. But your Facebook page is mostly going to be developed of family and friends. You ain't trying to do business with your family and friends. You're trying to reach a wider demographic. You have to learn how are you going to reach wider on that platform. So based on where your people are, you need to figure out some answers to some questions around stuff like that. How do you build an audience where they want to have that information delivered? And then how do you show up there? So the frequency is also going to be based on your schedule, obviously, but sometimes your existing schedule is not compatible with your future goals. So you got to change your current schedule.
In order to make the work.
Yeah, because it's like, okay, well, I'm not available. Make yourself available. Make a shift.
Mercy.
You know what I'm saying? Everybody makes a way for them to become available when an emergency happens. I don't care. Your job say you can never leave. I'm gone because it's emergency. Exactly. It's, you know what I'm saying? You find a way. And so I take that same, if this was an emergency, I had to leave. I had to go do something. It's cancelable. Like I can get rid of it. I can shift or I could maneuver. But a lot of times your sincerity and seriousness around a thing is not, you're not convincing. The reason why your boss won't let you readjust your schedule, because you don't sound like you really even care or like you're really serious about this. You're not even willing to get in trouble at work. They can't whoop your behind. Like until I see well-oiled Arabian leather belts or something hanging from the supervisor's office and like they have a history of just shikak, then at that point, I got something to be worried about. But until then, it's like the get in trouble at work stuff. It's like, I don't know, maybe I'm a little wild in that sense to where I was willing to get another job or willing to be fired or willing to deal with the consequences that came back of making those decisions. So the where and the frequency, it's like sometimes you got to make yourself available. Yeah, you do want to start with what you have, but sometimes you got to move stuff around to get what you need. And so that's what I believe. And that's what I coach people on doing. It's like, yes, let's look at what you currently have, but maybe your current schedule was conducive for another goal. It's not conducive for this goal. We need to adjust.
Wow. Yeah. Listen, that's gold. That's gold. A lot of people shy away from the answer. It depends. Right. But in this case, it really does depend on your audience. I mean, because if your audience is on TikTok and you are all over on LinkedIn, what are we doing? What are we doing? Yeah. And if your audience wants the content to be TikTok like and not long form, then again, what are we doing? It's got to. There has to be that crux. Like this is where I'm hinging my strategy. And the strategy, at the end of the day, you know what you want to get to the person. You know the message, the value you have to provide for that person, for that perfect person, that avatar, or whatever it is.
Yes.
But you also need to give it to them in a way that they want it. I know that that's been something I'm guilty of. People want to read a blog post. People may want to hear it as a podcast. People might want to have it as a short. You got to be able to figure out ways to give it to them in ways that they naturally will consume it. And so that is also has to be able to dictate, or it should be a critical factor in how you approach content creation. So that's so good. I want to grab these two comments here. This is one. Diana, can you read this one for us? This is one I'm throwing on the screen.
If it reaches one person and changed their life, from Computer Pal Inc. Here's the thing with that. I kind of disagree with that.
Talk to us.
And I'll tell you why. Most people, that's a sign off for some people. I think it started where it was stated in full sincerity, and not that Computer Pal is not saying that in sincerity, but I'm saying people say, if I reach one person, then I did my job. No, you haven't. Because if you wasn't called to reach one person to like your, you know what I'm saying? Like if your purpose, like I believe your purpose, you know that you hit home with your purpose and what you're supposed to do when it has nothing to do with you. Me getting and being like super introverted, don't want to talk like in the sense of like on the phone and all this, but no, you know what I'm saying? Keeping a close group of people around me, like a couple, not, all those things like live streaming video, all of this is out of the element for me. This is not my norm, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I have to grow and develop into doing the things of what is necessary. Everybody's goal isn't going to be where you're impacting the masses, but I really believe more people's goals and their purposeful work actually does require more of you. And it was never intended for you to just reach one. It was for you to reach many. You settled on the one. Because it's a
Wow.
comfort zone there. You know what I'm saying? Like if I help one person live stream, I ain't did my job. If I said that last year, I ain't did my job. It was a massive amount of people, you know what I'm saying, that needed help. So I agree the sincerity in this statement. I don't necessarily agree with the statistics of who can, you know what I'm saying, say that. So it's like sometimes your purposeful work is designed to reach the many. You're just uncomfortable with accepting that.
Yeah,
You know?
that is a very uncomfortable place to be. A very, very uncomfortable thing to even say out loud. Like, yeah, what I'm doing here is intended for many people to be impacted, to be blessed, to be changed, to really find their footing, and it will be pivotal for them as well. Here's one more comment from Earl Hall. He says, I measure my live stream impact by the engagement from my audience, the questions and comments. When it is effective engagement, or when is effective engagement is high. This is not, and let me tell you, man, that is one way. But I will also tell you that I have had some streams where engagement was low, and I didn't have many people on there, but some of the comments and feedback that I got from those quote unquote low engagement streams was very impactful. People were quiet, but they weren't saying, but they were very much touched. They were moved. And so they came after the fact, did the Nicodemus thing, came in the DMs. They were like, hey, Kirk, man, that message, that thing that you said, that thing that was shared, that point that you made, that thing was really impactful. See, you can balance that thing that way as well. But what I will say, man, now I already unfavorited it, so I forgot who exactly that was that made that comment, Earl Hall. But what I will say, Earl, I know you're in the voiceover space, is there's a couple of different sides to look at on that thing as well, and really do consider some of what Diana shared in terms of using your audience and their locale and preferences as a means for success. Put it in their way. Let them have to step over your content. Don't put it in a side room off of a side street in a back alley. Put it right where they are, where they normally go. If they don't want it, they have to intentionally go around your stuff, right? That's the best way, best analogy that I can use for that. Diana, I got one more question for you. One more question for the night, and that is simply this, as we get ready to wrap things up. And then listen, we always have our you plug your hustle section. We want to make sure people can find you, follow you, know what projects and things that you guys have coming up next. And we're going to make sure we showcase your site and some things that they can show. But if somebody does, if somebody is a business that's watching right now is saying to themselves, well, we've been doing this for a while. I mean, what should we put in place? What metrics, what indicators should we put in place, or should we set up for us to know and determine that we are having impact, right? I mean, how do we, so Earl says engagement is one of those ways, but what are some of the other things that we can tangibly say, here are some things, that indicators that may give us a window into the type of reach we're having with our content?
For sure. The biggest thing right now that you need, and a lot of people think, oh, well, quality over quantity, so we're just going to do one video a month, but that one video looks like it still took you 2 minutes to make and not,
Mercy.
maybe 2 days to make, kind of a thing. So it's like, yeah, it's not really adding up. The thing is that early on you will need quantity and quality. Obviously, it shouldn't be trash, but you will need quantity because you need enough numbers and metrics and consistency at work for you. So you have quantifiable data in order for you to pull and actually say, like, even like I've had and worked with clients and companies and brands where it's like, okay, let's go look at the YouTube analytics, log in and show me. And they be
Right.
like log in. Yeah, I need to see the data of what you're doing so I can see where stuff is falling off. And then you go
Wow.
log in and and I'll see 4 videos 6 months ago, 2 months ago, last week. We don't have enough data. Like no Pew Research can't get enough data off of this. So, it's like, that's the thing. It's like you do need quantity in consistency in doing a thing, because if you're constantly changing stuff, there's no way for us to get the data. And then once you do have it, let's say you've been posting 1 video a week for the last 6 months, right? Or even the last 90 days, right? That's maybe a little bit more chewable for people.
Right.
So you've been posting a video a week for the last 90 days. The first thing that you want to look at, especially if it's something like a YouTube, is the first 5 to 8 seconds all the way up to the first 30 seconds. How fast are you losing the people that you attract? Now you need to start learning, first of all, the same thing like we used to do in elementary school. The same rules apply for most of these social platforms. You need the glossary. You know how they have you do key terms before you even get into the thing. You need to know the language of the platform so you can understand the culture of the communities that you're trying to reach. Because most people get on these platforms and they stick out like a sore thumb because you don't understand the language and the culture. It's like going into McDonald's and saying, let me get a venti tall with an express. They're going to be like, what?
What?
Wrong language, wrong place.
Yeah.
So wherever your people are, you've defined where they need to be. You've identified that, obviously if it's TikTok, you need video content there. You need to be in the vertical format. Okay. Now you got your frequency. Let's say you're posting once a day, once every 3 days or something. Okay. How many videos do you have to look at the data? We got to learn what are the key performing indicators for that platform. So everything is always going to have audience retention. So I think universally, that's something that you can add to your key terms of things to know. The other thing is that you need to learn what is the reach factor for what you're doing. And after you figure out that reach and how people are being exposed to the content, the next thing that you need to be able to identify is what's the normal social behavior for consumption on that platform and where are you missing it? Everything has what I call the hierarchy of engagement scale. And that is basically to say and to identify the social behaviors on YouTube. It starts off with a person. Most of the time, they're putting some type of something into the search bar. That search yields a result based on Google and YouTube's analytics of who they feel is relevant to that topic for that person based on your search history and your behaviors on the platform. The other thing with that is going to be that viewer, person in the seat that's searching for and has a problem. They have things that are most important to them that impacts how they look at a thumbnail, the language that that person is using, or are you just saying doctor language that I don't understand? Yeah. They're looking at the thumbnail and how attractive that is to their problem. Is that thumbnail and that title kind of like in some relation to where I can get a relief of, I think this is the right aisle that has my medicine at the store, right?
Yeah.
It's like the walking, like they changed the store. That's why everybody get pissed off. It's like little stuff that piss you off as an adult. Now, why they changed the store? You wonder why your grandma used to say, now you know. She had a pattern and a behavior and she got it right. So it's same way with, TikTok has a social behavior. There, you sign on, you got the following, you got the For You page. Mm-hmm. If you're looking at the For You page, it's based on what you're consuming, what you're engaging with. Social behaviors, hierarchy of engagement scale, it's a little different. But they're going to consume or they're going to scroll past. It's like clickable or scroll pastable. So they're going to consume it. They may loop it if it's loopable. That's a whole other training or something.
Right.
But if they like it, they're going to heart it, and which is like a like.
Right.
But then they go to either the comments or they're going to share it. Those are kind of half and half at the point because they're looking for community at that point. And this is where people screw up with TikTok. They think it's like exposure. No, it's community. I'm going to watch it. I'm going to engage with it. Or I'm going to keep scrolling until I get to one that I can engage with. Then I'm going to go to the comments for community and start liking other stuff because I'm looking for people that was also going to say, but did you see the book that fell in the background? Or did you see the little baby who made a funny face at the, whatever. And you'll see other comments like, I was looking for this comment. Right.
Wow.
And that's 500 likes to that because other people was doing the same social behavior. So all platforms had that stuff. So when you think about that process, you now need to understand based on that hierarchy of engagement scale and the how people consume content on this platform, where are we missing it with our content? Because you have to have enough data to be able to assess our thumbnails suck. We're getting plenty of exposure and impressions, but the impressions click-through rate of they were exposed to it and the click-through to watch is low.
Low.
The thumbnail sucks.
That's
all important. The data.
The data is telling you something. And I love the way you started by saying there is a glossary. There's a, back to kindergarten. These are the terms that you are going to need to understand in this space. And so if you're listening and you're in these spaces and you're trying to push with content and you do not understand the data, you do not understand the analytics, that drop off rate in the first 5 seconds to 30 seconds, or the fact that people are seeing your content, but they're not clicking through, and you don't readily know how to interpret what action step you need to take when you see that data metric, that data point. So a lot of the times, man, it's of course becoming a student of the craft, a student of the space, a student of the platform, understanding what makes things successful here. But again, I hate to be a dead horse here, but man, a broken record, I should say. But it also does come back down to getting into groups, getting into coaching, getting into spaces where you can learn from others who have gone before. They can give you that perspective. They can give you that glossary, if you will. Right. I mean, but there are certain things that you don't need to coach for now. You can go out and find some of the terminology for these platforms all on your own. But the thing that I love the most, I don't remember what you said, what you called it, but I know that people said it in the comments here. Let me see if I can find it here in the comments. Okay, I hope you're absolutely well done. Look. Let me scroll way up here. Okay, so yes, Doc made a very interesting comment there. But anyway, we're not going to talk about St. Louis internet. Love it. This is great stuff. Purpose always calls you for greater. Andrew Nixon. And Mountain of Inspiration says quantity and consistency. That was the one. Quantity and consistency, so that you can actually get the data. You don't even have enough data. Worthy Retail You says, great stream tonight. Diana is the GOAT. Much respect. Learn something every time I listen to Diana. This is David Hunt. Hierarchy of engagement scale. That was the one. Who said that? Mountain of Inspiration. She said the hierarchy of engagement. That is the one. When you said that one, Diana, man, I hope you get some of this stuff copyrighted. I know you were working on something. You told us the other day.
Yeah, it's going to be done by the time the book comes out, so it should be all right.
Got it. I know you were. I was in that session where you were doing your live stream and you were writing, and I was actually trying to read. I was trying to read some. It's like, let me pause it. I was trying to read through some pieces there, man. That book is going to be a page turner. I am definitely looking forward to it. And listen, fam, we are plumb out of time. And what I'm going to say to you right now is, if you haven't already, go ahead and get in the room. Miss Jill is on the live. I love the fact that she's here with us. She was on with us last month. But get in the room. Get in the room. I'm switching to the scene that's showing. This is the room right here. If you click this button right here, it says get this, right? HIAW Convos and Collabs after party. We don't have a long time. We just got a few minutes. The room is already open
for you.
It won't be. But you want to get in the room, man. You want to get in the space where we can have a little powwow, where we can kind of touch base with one another. But listen, folks, this is where you can find Diana. All of her stuff is here on her webpage, DiannaGladney.com. It is in the description everywhere that this video is being played right now. So you can just click that link. Make sure you reach out, find, follow, like, subscribe if that is your bag. I don't always do the general subscribe thing, because if that's not your thing, then why subscribe? What I'm saying is, if what you heard today in this 1 hour episode was definitely, scratching where you're itching, then you definitely want to make sure you find her spaces, follow her in those places as well. Video Simplified. I love it. This is bookmarked for me. So I'm excited to be able to share this with the How It All Works audience. You guys all know that I talk about Diana regularly here, so want to make sure you guys are aware of that. Diana, any last things you want to share with folks? We just kind of sort of touched on the fact that there's a book. Maybe you want to say a little bit more about that?
It's not ready yet. It's not ready
Okay,
yet.
good, good,
We are
good.
in early writing stages for it. I will say that for those that are entrepreneurs that are getting into that creative space, you want to know all of the in between stuff, not like the theory or the talking around YouTube and video specific stuff. It's like I want to put all of my ideas and works into a book so that universally it's applicable to, because the platforms are always going to change. Like the medium is always going to
Gonna
change. The
change.
message should not, right? And so the how you connect with your people leveraging video more or less is going to be the same, right? You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
TikTok is new. You adapt, you change, you keep creating. You know, it could be something, whole other platform that comes up. What was it? Clubhouse came up.
Yeah, yeah. You're
Okay,
right. You're
you
right.
adapt, change, you start creating. Like it doesn't matter. So that's early days with that. The biggest thing that's coming for those that want to really start diving deep marketing wise. I'm going to be speaking at Social Media Marketing World next year. It is within, you got to go to socialmediaexaminer.com. You'll see it on the website. But so I would say that should be something that people add to their calendar. It's not just like YouTube specific or something, like real marketers, real brands, real businesses coming together to do that. So that's going to be happening, but the book will come out around about or right before that time frame. But we're in the early stages of writing that right now, though.
Right. Social, man. Is social media marketing world is August?
It's actually going to be like in March. So
Is it really? Oh wow.
Yeah, it's going to be first quarter
Oh wow. Okay,
of next year.
I am definitely making sure I get a ticket to that one. Gotta make sure I get a ticket to that one. Thank you so much for giving me that heads up. I don't know why I have August in my head. Maybe they had it in August this past year, or somewhere in that.
It could have been different, but it was so many different changes of schedules between this and last year. I think we're back to our regularly scheduled program for next year.
Right.
So yeah, super honored to be speaking there, but it's going to be in March of 2022. So that seems like it ain't
excellent.
that far. It'll sneak up on you before you know it.
That's around the corner. That is around the corner. Need to be planning. I literally booked a project for February, just yesterday. So definitely we need to be planning for that. But listen, this is what I want to say, Diana. It's always a pleasure to have you on the show with us. Always a pleasure to hear from your perspective. I mean, there's just the way you share is unique and it's special, and we cannot overstate that, right? I mean, everybody in the comments, they went nuts just talking about some of the things that you're sharing today. It adds to our lives. It allows us to see things in a different way, new ways, new perspectives on old things, and helps us to get unstuck in a lot of ways. And I love that. I can't thank you enough for coming through, hanging out with us. We're probably going to invite you back next year. We had you around this time last year, and we're probably going to try and get you to come back next year if we still are doing this thing in 2022 like that. But man, I'm excited to see this portion of the journey and hear from your perspective and some of the answers to the questions you've shared today, but also really excited to see what the next leg of the journey looks like for you, because I think it's just going to be that much more phenomenal. So my special thanks to you for coming through and hanging out with the How It All Works audience, and with me particularly today.
My pleasure.
Absolutely, man. What can I say? We always have an awesome time with our guests. Today is no different. I see Bishop Donald Oliver just came in. You're not too late, man. You can grab your ticket. Go to buymeacoffee.com/KirkRNugent. You can get your ticket to the after party. The room is open for those that have their tickets already. For my members who have already, got the email, check your email. For my members, check your email. Check the messages from BMAC. See if you have that link. Go ahead and jump in the room. Jasmine Stewart, I see you. You responded earlier. Go ahead and jump in the room. But I just want to say a word of thanks for you for being here today. If it weren't for your presence and coming and hanging out with us in this space, it wouldn't make sense for us to do what we do. But we're glad, just based on what your feedback has been thus far, that this is really hitting home for a lot of you, hitting home for me. Like if anyone was just anybody else, it was just me. The content was really great today. Definitely awe-inspiring. Definitely caused me to sit back and think about some things in new ways. And I'm hoping that for you, it was the same. Essentially hoping that you're able to figure out how it all works. And we'll see you guys in another video.